Greetings guys, in this video I will be recreating World of Warcraft Dragonflight weapon. It's the simple green item in the game that you can get during the questing. I'm going to recreate it using my workflow and using only couple simple brushes in 3D code. I spent about 3 hours making this weapon. But if I didn't have this amazing in-game model, I would spend much more time. So yeah, all the glory goes to the Blizzard artist who designed it and painted it. I'm doing only a fan art for practice and content, haha, let's start. Modeling I'm doing in Blender, yeah, in the 10,000 years old version, please don't blame me for it. So I created a vertex, adding just some lines and getting all the forms of the blade. Then I added more polish, it's even more than original one. And for the hilt it's just a cube, super low poly. Getting the correct forms. I also adding more polish on it than the original one. And for the handle it just super low poly for vertex cube stuff. It's like the original one. And now I'm gonna unwrap it super fast. Just select object, unwrap it, and it's done. We even don't need to adjust anything in the UVs. It's just... Don't forget to place the blade at 35 degrees, so you'll have more texture space for it. Just small adjustment and UV is done. I just spent like 1 minute on it. Okay, now it's time for 3D code. I bake it AO just to see better the forms, not going to use it in the texture. Adding base colors with the fill tool and painting the handle without fill tool. You can do this on separate layer also. I will be doing a lot of color picking for this one while we are only the recreating. And now it's time for color blending. I chose the lighter color and started blending using a semi-soft, semi-hard brush at 85% opacity and just blend it together to get some base color look for our weapon. Not going into the details at this stage. So we're trying to get something similar like the original one. Adding some darker colors. Also blending them with our other colors. And we already have some basic raw look of the colors like the original version. And same we'll do on the hue too. When you don't have this like stuff to pick colors, it will take much more time to make that kind of model. So for me this one took like 3 hours, but if I had to create the colors and design by myself, it could take up to 10 hours. Adding more interesting colors everywhere. I really like the color palette they're using, looks super cool. We will do the base colors also on our part of the handle, and there is some color reflection happening, so we're gonna paint with more colorful stuff there. Of course, the darker colors on the part where the light isn't hitting, and mixing everything together. Using these unusual colors on the metal gives some very cool look for this metal material. The shiny and with the reflection looks really cool. And we're gonna polish all of this later on other stages. For now we are adding this base color raw look. So everything we painted should remind like the weapon we are making. And on like one side they have super darker details, on other sides the reflections. And now I'm gonna add the line art layer, painting these dark lines details, like all the sharpening stuff and the damage and so on. The scratches. Trying to get something very similar. I'm not doing any projection here, like normally you could like just project the original work on this one, but it will not be a practice for painting, it just copy paste. And we are painting every pixel from scratch. That's what I call the practice. Adding more scratches on the lower part, some on the handle, the dark lines, that later on we're gonna fill with the blue color. And now gonna add more details on the handle by itself. It's very interesting made with these many dark lines going around, and also the darker part on one side. So we're gonna make similar stuff. Currently just blending the colors. Later on we're gonna add these line details too. I have speed up this video for like twice, I think. So if you think it's too fast, you can slow it down and watch it normally. So now we can paint more colors here while we see the surface that we separated with the line art. Adding some really interesting colors there. Adjusting the blade. they made this very interesting stylized details on the blade, like it been sharpened some kind very raw way, like with a stone or something. Adding more lighter colors and some texture details of the metal, like damaged one, but we're gonna polish it later on for better look. Now we're gonna adjust our align art layer with erase to make everything look smooth and nice. Actually, World of Warcraft is my favorite game, and I've been playing it from my childhood, and it's inspired me to make 3D art. I don't know why I didn't recreate any Warcraft stuff before, but I did some fan arts with my own design many years ago. It's always very fun to make something World of Warcraft. So now we added this lighter color on the blade and doing these sharpening waves of metal. If I would paint it by myself, I probably would blend it more so they would not be seen like that much. But we are recreating, adding some shadow with a darker color. That's how you can use some color picking while practicing. It's very nice to understand the colors other guys working on, the one that you like a lot. I also painted this lighter part of the blade on separated layer because I feel that I would need to adjust it, like make maybe less opacity or use erase tool there. Adding more light colors here, getting some depth on this surface while it's a flat mesh. Adding more a lighter color, getting some metal texture. As you see on the original one, it's very noisy and it's like almost impossible to make like pixel to pixel super similar one. I just making some noise of the metal texture details and hope to make something similar, but it of course will not be pixel to pixel similar. Adding more darker colors here, but I'm not adding the ambience at this stage. They will be added later on separated layer. That's how I paint with my workflow. I don't know what workflow Blizzard guy is using, so I am trying to create their weapon with my workflow that I use. A little bit more darker colors here on the hilt, and they are doing some great mix of colors with the warm ones going into the cold ones, and different on the both part of the hilt. Very different ones. Looks super cool. Really learned something new here. It's very cool to make that kind of practice. I'm painting hand painted textures for I think over 10 years, and every time I do something I learn a lot of new stuff. You know, you like never can know everything. And now we're adding darker colors on our part with some interesting color, not like the black one, but some reddish. And adjusting the lower part too. On the right side they have like more darker one, and on the left side the reflections, so it gives super cool depth effect. Now I'll paint a little bit more details on the handle. Also adding this depth effect everywhere. And for this work I only use just simple 3D colored brushes, couple of them. My favorite one is semi-hard, semi-soft one, about at 88% opacity. Then we're gonna use some soft brushes for ambience later on, and for texture details, like when I'm painting some maybe metals or something like that, I use the super hard brush for these details. And now we are painting these align details. Normally you should do them on separated layer to adjust it, because there isn't like super easy ones to paint. I actually never painted something like this on the handle before. I mostly went for bigger details. This one is extremely small ones, but it is as it is in World of Warcraft. And now it's time to add the highlights. I created a new layer and started painting them. I adjusted this one with the eraser tool. It's been hard for me to paint there. And for some places I just push my brush more to make this highlight effect more brighter, like metal reflection on this part, shiny one. sometimes it's not that easy to paint a straight line. I just saw that my this scratch damage one isn't like the original one, so I decided to adjust it a little bit. Better now than never. And not everything you can see like at the start. And here we'll have our boat that we're gonna paint later on. I don't know why, but I always paint like these boats and other small details at the end. Just my preference, not something everyone should do. And we're gonna add highlights everywhere. More this like dot stuff or some metal shiny effect. And we paint the highlights only where the light hits our object. So we need to imagine a light source. Other way, like the highlights will be on every edge. It already looks pretty similar. Already happy with the results, looks cool. Just added more depth to this scratch. And we'll do similar on other void parts too, but with less opacity. I just pick it the more darker color for it. Those parts should not be super shiny and super thin. Almost finished with the highlights. Maybe we're gonna polish them a bit more on the last polishing stage. And for now, I'm very sorry I missed one part of the video, like 8 minutes or something. I will show you what I have painted there. I painted these dark lines everywhere around the highlights. for more depth effect, like the original work have. So I just show you what I painted. I painted some highlights on the handle and hilt with the similar techniques like we did on the blade. You can see it. I'm really sorry that I missed this record button when I started to paint it. So sorry for that, but yeah, let's just continue. I hope you just understand how it's all been painted, like I did everything else. And here I'm adding more details, trying to it on the metals. Mixing them and trying to get some interesting oak for the metals, like it's damaged. Yeah, and you see now there's everywhere this layer with the darker lines around the highlights. And I used a little bit of soft brush for the hilt highlight in the middle. And now adding a little bit more these dark lines on the blade too, but not everywhere, just in a couple parts. Now I'm doing this detail with the hard brush on the metal. You see it give more readable details of metal damage, less blended. And here I want to add a little bit more lighter reddish colors to make it look like a reflection. I'm working with the soft brush for reflections and ambience. And sometimes for different highlights too. Like for example, we see here in the middle of the metal, I mixed up the hard brush and soft brush layers with the highlights. And here I will add this ambient darker with the soft brush on the handle on the one side. And added some reflections here too. I actually could not understand what it is. Probably some reflection from metal that goes to the handle, but it's very strange for me. Maybe it's some kind of rust or something, because our clothes material probably would not reflect these colors, but well, it looks cool, so I did it too. Added ambience on the blade lower part. Now we're gonna add more colors, like this super color for small paintings around the weapon everywhere for more cook. I painting them on separated layer because I will want to erase them a little bit with the razor tool. And here I just choosing the color by myself without picking it. Because I feel this will be easier and I will want to adjust it with the razor tool. We almost finish it. This last polishing stages gives a really cool effect. And now I will go for a razor tool and adjust all of them a little bit. And now I'm gonna polish the final small details everywhere around the blade, like maybe some shadows, some metal details. I repainted this damage detail, moved it a little bit over. Forgot some dark line here. Making some more interesting oak everywhere and trying to get closer to the original one. Very interesting. Could you find the difference in game if I would place there my model from them zoomed out? Probably not. At least I hope so, haha. And this is the last part I'm gonna paint, the boat. It also has some reflections and highlights, very cool, painted, really like it. I tried at first soft brush but decided not to go for it on this small object. So I painted our highlights and then the reflections with some more colorful and more darker lines. And now we add a little bit more depth. And it's done. And here is the final results. I think it looks pretty similar, and it was very interesting practice for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed that kind of content. Please let me know in the comments if you would like to see more content like this one of recreating different items from different games. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. See ya. Bye bye.